Hi, everyone who is not yet here. I guess this is how an Insta live works. I'm just waiting for Niranjan to join. And here
Hi.
he is. Hi,
Hi.
guys. Everyone who's here, thank you for coming in. So, Niranjan, the first time
Yeah.
I met him, I can't resist telling the story, was at a club with students from Indigenous communities across the country. And some people were talking and he was listening. And then suddenly he stopped and he talked to the ones who were the quietest in the room. He looked at me and he said, I identify with you. And like he was telling me, just because I'm diffident in a classroom doesn't mean there's not a lot going on in my head. I had nothing to say. And that, my viewers, is Niranjan. His films say a lot, and they also use silences very effectively. His film Edpa Kana, which translates as Going Home, won the National Award for Audiography in 2016. Edpa Kana and his other, which translates as Multiplication Tables, beautiful film, have both been selected for the International Film Festival of India. They are both in Kudukh, but Niranjan makes films in Kudukh, Santhali, Bengali, Hindi, and surprise, Mandarin. Yes, he's made a film, Chinese film called Mother, shot in Taiwan, which is an ode to womanhood and motherhood, as is his other film, which is a Santhali music video called Dibi Durga. So he's multilingual. He's also made documentaries about the life of Adivasis in urban environments. And he has showcased his films in various major festivals at Beijing, Malaysia, Bangladesh, and India, of course. So I'm going to start by Niranjan has graduated from the Strategy 3 Film and Television Institute. He has also taught there. And he's also frequently teaching students at workshops, which is where I met him. So Niranjan, thank you so much for joining
Yeah.
us. We're really looking forward to this conversation. I'm going to hand it over to you. We'll start with something about yourself. How did you get into films? What motivated you, and what's your journey been like so far?
Yeah. So, films. Hello, everybody. Hi. This is my first time Instagram. I mean, any interview live actually. Uh, yeah. So, films. It was actually when I was studying in college, mass communication. That was the time when I was introduced to films. Um that time when for a very long time we had been watching these films called Bollywood from Bollywood and Hollywood. So it always looked like something like a far-fetched dream, something like otherworldly, something I could not relate to much in terms of visuals and the way the lights and the glamour and the facial features of the people. So that kind of situation was there. So I never thought of, I never could imagine myself working in films. But then this thing happened when I was studying in my college. It was a mass comm college. And in the final year, we were introduced films. And in the films, thankfully, we were shown films by Akira Kurosawa or Fellini or Robert Bresson. So these people are actually making films from their own will. We never could imagine that, even these countries have a rural setup. So, when you see Bresson's films or Kurosawa's films, you will see very strong rural films. And then apart from them, Indian directors like, Girish Kasarvalli, one of the very important filmmaker in my life. Then Adur Gopalakrishnan, if you see their films, I could see very much, our world uh, in their films, like those kinds of visuals, those kind of sceneries, those kind of raw emotions. So that is how I got, I felt comfortable with the medium. And then again, when we started doing the projects there, that is when we were four friends who wanted to do films.
Mhm.
Uh, so we started working, and then in the projects, and during the projects, we realized that, you know, this is the thing which we want to do, because we used to forget, eating, sleeping, drinking water, anything, everything we used to forget. So that was there. That is when I felt that this is what I want to do. Now
Mhm.
I come back to Jharkhand after my graduation, and I see, I start assisting a filmmaker. I wanted to do films. So I started assisting a filmmaker in Jharkhand, Shri Prakash. And through his journey, his shooting and all these things, I started experiencing Jharkhand and tribal life in a whole new perspective. I went through mass movements, and I edited some documentaries, also shot some, with the camera. And I observed this whole thing changed things for me. And this whole experience was like, we need cinema more than anybody else. And one thing I missed out was, there is this thing about my language which I had in my college days only. I had realized that there's this Kudukh or Uraos. Nobody knew about this in my
Mhm.
college. Like, I come from an Urao tribe, and we speak Kudukh. And
Mhm.
this so happened that everybody who would talk to their parents on phone, uh, they will talk to them in mother tongue. But with me, it was like I was uncomfortable talking in my mother tongue, because I was not fluent. So we spoke in Hindi. So this thing was there. And then later we hear that Kudukh is listed as in one of the endangered language from this country. So we need cinema a lot in that sense. Yeah.
So
So
what
that is how
what
I got
has
motivated.
sorry, repeat that.
That is how I got motivated more and more. Yeah.
So you've made so many films now. What do you see are the subjects that keep coming up? What are your preoccupations? What are the subjects you keep returning to or find yourselves attracted to?
Most things, my whole journey, if you see in the films, it has been, um, uh, I this human emotions,
Mm-hmm.
the family thing has been a very strong presence in my films. And you will see how, even in Mother or Edpa Kana or Pahada, it's all family kind of films. The family is in the center. That has been the recurrent thing. But a lot of things have been always been, ever evolving in my life.
Right.
My, how I saw the world when I was making Pahada, or Khaika Tumpa, is way different from how I saw the world, when I was making Edpa Kana, and Dibi Durga. So during Edpa Kana, it was during Pahada and this film. What is this film? This Khaika Tumpa. Pahada and
Like,
Khaika Tumpa. I was actually during Pahada, I will say that time it was 2012, and we were experiencing the Jharkhand state had this Operation Green Hunt going on. So it was very fresh in our times at that point of time. And so Pahada is about that, a tribal family caught in the crossfire. But the child in the film, actually is the young mind which is caught in the crossfire of the cultures. Actually, if you watch the film, you will see it. And then I made this Khaika Tumpa is a kind of an extension of this, and where I start from, it starts like a migration story, but then it eventually reaches to the colonization, uh, situation. If you, I have not used the word colonization in the film, but the whole thing is, how it starts from Jharkhand, then goes to Kolkata, and then comes back to Jharkhand, where this whole language thing, uh, happens. This protests and all these things against language happens. So yeah, that is there. So that is one part, one aspect, one part of it. Another part was, so at that point of time, I was seeing things as if, I was pointing fingers outside the community. So now, then when I realized that uh, I also have to see inward for a better growth. So then I started thinking in those terms, and I made Edpa Kana, which involves a very internal kind of a conflict among the tribes, which is a religion uh, issue. And also, I also had been thinking that there's a need to break stereotypes about the Adivasis. There are certain stereotypes, such as we are all the time, like there is a forever protesting image of tribals. Like we are protesting all the time. And from peaceful protests to we have images of violent protests, uh, such as nationalism. So these kind of things, and then other preoccupations of this, of the people of other communities about us, is not a very human face. We don't have a human face. Or if we have a human face, then it has a lesser human face. So to show that, cinema is becomes a very important medium in which we can show, because we also laugh, we make merry, we drink, we party, or we we have our own moments, we have families, we have relations. I always thought that why can't there be a film like, for example, Kapoor and Sons, with among tribals. Why does it always have to be dealing with some violent acts? Because that is not the truth. That is when tribals are actually peaceful people. There's very low, very very low crime rate in tribal areas. So that is the thing. So this preoccupations have been changing. Yeah.
So this is one of your concerns I've heard from you often, is this representation of indigenous individuals or communities in mainstream cinema, arts, media. Do you think that the stereotype still exists? Has it evolved? Has it changed in any way? Or is it still there?
It is still there, how we are seen. Actually, if you go back to cinema itself, how not only cinema, even let's go back to storytelling. In In the history itself, it has been, the Vanar and the Rakshasas have been the tribals. That is how we have been portrayed. And this in cinema, like when I was studying in film school, I watched these two films which were like made by Bengalis, and they had totally different impact in me. One was first I had watched actually Ritik Ghatak's Ajantrik in 35 print. When I watched that, and there was this music coming in the. I was not aware that I had no idea what this film was about.
Right.
So I was watching the film, and there's this music coming in the background, and it sounded very familiar. And then the language also started sounding familiar, because I had never imagined that Kudukh will be there coming from a screen. So then I realized that it is Kudukh and it is my music. And then I see that very majestic shots of flags flying, and tribals, Adivasis, my tribe, Urav's dancing, going in a procession, playing mandar. Mandar, we say it mandar, Bengalis call it madul. So that in traditional attire, and the camera is low angle, and it was brilliant. And then the whole that scene comes in a very in that crucial point of time where the protagonist and his car has they both have breakdown. The protagonist has a mental breakdown, and the car has its own breakdown. So he sees, he observes them, and then after that his life turns around. So I felt very nice watching that, actually. And I was like, oh, Bengalis have done so much work. And then, yeah, Ritik Ghatak had also made one documentary film on Uravs, which is nowhere to be found. So, yeah. So, and then I was quite happy with that, actually. Right. And then I watched this film by Satyajit Ray called Oranir Din Ratri. So, in that film, so you can have a comparative study of both the directors, how they treated tribals, actually. So Satyajit Ray's film is, first of all, he casted Simi Grewal as the tribal lady, who is actually like, she's like Doodh Si Safed woman. She's so fair, and she was painted black, and she was taken. On the contrary, Ritik Ghatak had, casted tribals. There is this, I have written the name, Luthar Tigga and Jhurni Urao. They are conversing in Kudukh in the film. There's a dialogue sequence. There's a flirtatious dialogue sequence. But here, if you see Oranir Din Ratri, you first of all, Ghatak, creates a whole world. The world is established properly. Tribal world. You get the feel of it all the time. It's very dominating. But in Ray's film, it is like, it just comes like inserts.
Right.
The dance and the mela scene, the mela scenes. So the dance and the song comes like insert. They are not like continuous songs. It just comes like for a few seconds, and then it gets cut. So, and they are like inserts as in it doesn't feel like it has been shot simultaneously in the same area. They are like tight frames, and they're just put there in Oranir Din Ratri. So yeah, so these things are there, and that is the problem with it, that you don't connect so much, or you don't feel the world so much as it would have been. And had Ray also casted a tribal woman for the role, it would have really impacted the lives of Adivasis. And also, the Palamu area doesn't have that much of Santhals, actually. That is also a little problematic. Yeah.
So you were at
So,
Film Institute named after Ray,
yeah.
and you were expressing this opinion on Ray. How did that go?
See, in film schools, actually, film schools, you will see, and even in Kolkata, I think, there are two camps always. One is towards, one goes towards Ghatak, one goes towards Ray. So, yeah, so I think Bengali people will understand what I'm trying to say. Uh, and yeah, in film school also, we were like completely divided. We had divided opinions. So
But
I
you know, the
have
filmmaking,
my, huh? Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
the filmmaking, naming are all masters of the craft, you know,
yeah, yeah.
and artistic films. How about Bollywood?
Yeah, Bollywood, actually, Bollywood has, uh, in Bollywood, I can talk about Shalimar. Shalimar has this problem. Shalimar has actually spoiled the whole childhood of every tribal of my generation. Like this Jhinga Lala ho, sabhi log, people will come, tum log Jhinga Lala ho karta hai. Like that. So, and the film has number of problems, a hell lot of problems actually. First of all, the island is supposed to be populated by tribes. The foot soldiers are tribes. So, but the tribes, the people who are casted as tribal people come from different ethnicity actually. They are not from one ethnicity. So some are dark, some look like northeast features. So it's very mixed. Then there are things like there's nothing, no, presence of. There are songs in which tribals are dancing. There is a song in which they are, worshipping cops, and they're dancing. But then the dance and the music is, again, it is not from the community. It is something else. And then one major scene is where I really got angry when I saw it was the villain is he is just talking something, and because and he is talking to Dharmendra, and then Dharmendra is he's talking to Dharmendra, and then he takes a gun and he makes three tribals stand one by one, and he starts shooting them, just like a sport. And then one is shot dead, and Dharmendra comes and he says something like he needs to go to the washroom or something like that. So that is there. These are the things. Jingalala, who has really spoiled us. Huh?
Any improvements in recent films, or is it?
Recent films, Bollywood. They are not Bollywood films. They are actually Telugu films, but they are representing Indian cinema in the global,
Right.
arena right now. Right now. So this is our beloved Rajamouli sir. So there. So first of all, if you watch Bahubali, Bahubali has this major problem about this when they have this Kalakaya tribe scenes. There's a Kalakaya tribe who speaks click language, that kind of language, which is taken from Cohesian languages of African countries, African countries, African tribes. From there, they have taken inspiration and they have made a new language called Kiliki. So it is evident that they are tribes. And the way they are, you look at them and they are looking dirty, disgusting, who probably have never taken bath in their lives. And the same thing which keeps repeating, that barbarian kind of a portrayal. And then most important thing is we are watching the film from the perspective of Mahishmati, from the perspective of Bahubali and Amarendra Bahubali, or what is his name? His name is Bhallal Dev. Bhallal Dev's, their perspective. So we all enjoy killing of these people. And then you will see that it is the same, like it has been happening over the years with the tribals, that they have been assaulted by, with using very sophisticated weapons. And you will see the same in Bahubali. And we are clapping and we are enjoying it. So that kind of mindset is, it makes it normal. It normalizes it for the mass. And then that film has this problem. And then there's his new film RRR, which claims to be based on Komaram Bhim's biopic, but it is not actually. It is it just uses the names of Raju Ram and Komaram Bhim. But then, yeah, in that film, there are certain things which are very problematic, actually. First of all, the whole film is, it's problematic from my perspective. Okay, from our perspective. So, yeah, so it is all actually Ramayan in disguise. It is Ramayan. It is not a film about Komaram Bhim. It is Ramayan. Komaram Bhim is Hanuman in the film. Ram Charan is playing Ram, which eventually comes out. He actually wears the Bhagwa clothes, and he takes the bow and arrow and becomes Ram. Sita is Alia Bhatt, Sita. So they have twisted they have made changes, they have tweaked it in a certain way that Ram is in Vanvas, but Sita is at home. And then she comes looking, and the Hanuman helps her get Rama back. He takes Sita's, this pendant to Ram, who is in the, in Ashok Vatika, not Ashok Vatika, but in the, that cell. Yeah. So like that, it is Ramayan actually. And then you will see that eventually NTR is reduced to a subordinate. He is a subordinate to the Ram. Then the third point is he, at the end of the film, he asks, Ram says that what can I do for you? You have helped me so much. He says that मुझे शिक्षा दो. as if we are we lack knowledge or something. Maybe literacy ho sakta tha, maybe something like that, but not shiksha. Another one biggest thing was, which I saw in RRR, was there's this dialogue where Sita tells Bhim that what Ram's real intention was. So this guy and Junior NTR is having this realization, and he says that मैं तो मल्ली के लिए आया था, पर वो तो आया था इस माटी के लिए, मैं जाहिल गंवार नहीं समझा. ठीक है, this is okay. मैं जाहिल गंवार मैं नहीं समझा. But when you read the subtitles, it says, I came for Malli, but your fiancé came for the land, the tribal that I am. So, Jahil Gawar ka subtitle, the tribal that I am. I couldn't understand. So, this is the kind of mentality, this kind of views we are having to see, and they normalize. It becomes very normalized because big directors are doing it. So
how do we, like, you made a film in Taiwan, right? And that's also a very culturally sensitive, beautiful human emotion film. What did you keep in mind about the outsider's gaze when you were making that film? That should inform mainstream cinema about your approach like this.
Yeah, so the research is very important. You have to go and you have to talk to people, and you have to have proper supervisors for your script. If you are writing something, inappropriate for the community, or for the, from your perspective, you see something which is not actually true. So if somebody is there who is guiding you on this, then it becomes a lot more easier. But having said that, what happens is, no matter what, it will have your gaze. You can't be free of it, no matter what. Because see, if I'm treating a woman character, I'm not a woman. I'm a man. So I will treat it the way I have seen things, or probably I will treat that woman like a man, like me, how I think, because deep down we are all the same, and we have similar, we get affected by similar things. That is how we would approach it. But then I don't become a woman. Like, there will always be a difference. So in Mother, a difference was that which I felt later, that and also some one or two friends of mine, they have said that it is a very Indian way of seeing Indian film, because the matra of the emotions which we feel can be different from the Taiwan people. So they are different. They are going to be different. If no matter how much factual you go, those are information. They are not the soul. Information and the soul are different. So you're not going to, be free of, gaze anytime. So what you can do is be comfortable of it, and comfortable in the sense, acknowledge it. Don't, when you claim that you have done the justice to it, and when you claim that you are the, what you have made represents the image of these people, that is where we go wrong. That is how I see it.
So, lots of times indigenous communities will be represented in terms of, folk dance music or certain art forms that they are known for. But you yourself are into cinema. Do you find when you're teaching students at the institute or at workshops such as at Samvad, do you find that youth want to express themselves as individuals in new media? Do they have the opportunities to learn them, to express, or to use them as space and audience?
Yeah, they really want to express themselves, and they want to conserve. That is very important. They want to conserve and document what they already have, because somewhere or the other, like me only, they also don't see. There's an echo in the sound.
You better now? Is it better?
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So So somewhere like me, if I don't see myself in the larger media, like like we all have TV now, like every household has TV now. So it is only one culture, one language, and one culture which is coming to us. And because there's this so much of glamour attached to it, and the way the pulse of it is always a little higher than the normal. So the way it attracts you, you first of all you don't see yourself there. So you think that those who are there on TV, those who find space, those communities who find space in the TV, and they are higher cultures. That kind of a feeling is there. Uh, so uh, it is very much required for us to have certain spaces where we can, you know, have our people, our kind of stories, our kind of content or cultural things in the, in this medium. Now, the younger generation, such as in Samvad, they are coming from different walks of life, and they are not necessarily filmmakers. They do something else, which are equally important, which are more important, in fact. uh, so they are going to use cinema to document them. So my approach to them was how I would help them to give basics of cinema, just the workflow of it, and make not repeat visuals, not repeat things for too long, because I have to tell them that camera's sensor is not your canvas. It is time which is your canvas. So in time you have to be. Time is a continuous moving forward kind of a thing. So you have to move forward. It has to come progress. There has to be some change, some alteration happening. That is how you have to make your film. If you don't change, then it is a static information. So that is how I approach. And yes, I approached because there were some students who already knew a lot of things, who were in a certain advanced stage because of some mass comm background. So I had to make it very sure, very obvious in the class that I'm not here for those who are, who already know certain things, who the basics of things. So I am more concentrating on people who have never thought of making cinema, but now because there's so much of need, so we have to, we are just telling them how to approach it and what are the things they have to keep in mind. Another thing, when I'm teaching in film school, it goes higher, advanced stage. Then I can talk about matras and camera angles and positions and the background or how it is, the lines and the triangles, all these things, the patterns, and so that is how it is. But yeah, tribal students, there are indigenous students in film schools also, and they are looking forward to join the industry. Everybody is looking forward to join the industry. But then, since I am having a first-hand experience from at least from my place, that how things are, at least for the directors, there are certain. It's not a very easy situation right now, as of now, because there have been directors in my time who have, graduated from various film schools, such as even NID or FTI. They have now joined institutes as teachers and professors.
Right.
It is because of how the situation is. So to come out of it, uh, I have a few suggestions that, like the way things happened for women filmmakers or the filmmakers from LGBTQ communities. At the heart of it, we are all the same. Like we are going through a similar thing. At the heart of it, we are actually facing discrimination due to birth.
Correct.
Common thing, and that is how we have to actually we have to learn from each other. So we learn from the LGBTQI community. We learn from the women filmmakers how there are small. Earlier, they were not competing with the men filmmakers that much.
Correct.
So they started with small film festivals or small funding venues which funded their films. And then there were festivals which were only exclusively for women filmmakers or LGBTQI filmmakers. And then slowly, gradually, when it comes, at par, then now you see that there is no batsman, we have batters. There is no actress, we have actors. So that will happen. So there will be no Adivasi filmmaker or Adivasi writer. There will writer and filmmaker. So like that. So yeah. So there are certain examples actually. So there is a Sundance Indigenous program where there's this, yeah. But these are like their country. They take care of their country's indigenous people. So for Native Americans, they have this Merata Mita Fellowship, which gives fellowship to women filmmakers from Native American communities. Then there's this Native Lab, which is there for they from writing to making of the film. They guide the indigenous filmmakers. Like that, similarly, there's this First Nations program from Australia. So in Australia, it is like for Australian Aboriginals and this Torres Strait Islanders people. So they start from screenwriting, from the project development stage to marketing. They assist, they help, they even for pitching and getting more investors for the project. They help the filmmakers there. So similarly, we can have something like that here for us, because there are a lot of filmmakers. We have two filmmakers who have actually made it to bigger levels, higher levels. One is there's this filmmaker called Sangeet Dorji. He is from Arunachal Pradesh. His film is called Crossing Bridges. The language of the film was Sherduk Pen, and it won national award in 2016 or something. I don't remember properly. Then there's this filmmaker, Garo filmmaker called Dominic Sangma. So his film had gone to Cannes in a certain category, and then it had also won Best Cinematography at 22nd Shanghai International Film Festival. So we look forward to them, we look up to them, and maybe with more help, something more will happen. And yeah, there is one film festival which I want to mention, which happens in Baripada, which is called Indigenous National Film Festival, Baripada Indigenous National Film Festival of India.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Sorry, BISFF Film Festival. Yeah. Baripada Indigenous Short Film Festival, actually. BISFF. So there's this group of people which is led by Ashish Mardi, I think, and Deepak Besra, who are together in this, and they organize this film festival, which is quite good, and I hope it will have more and more films from indigenous people, and then slowly And also, yeah, even Samvad had, given
Yeah.
support to the festival,
Yeah.
lent its support. So that way we can have certain growth for
Right.
the people. Otherwise, for technical students who are there, they can definitely go to Mumbai and have their yeah,
Feel about. So,
yeah,
like you were pointing out, when time is an arrow, we're
yeah,
running out soon. I
yeah.
want to leave this last question.
Hmm.
Um, that now, with the climate crisis staring us in the face, and we're talking
Hmm.
about civilizational collapse, etc.,
Hmm.
there is a lot of conversation around learning from indigenous communities or how they are the custodians of the planet. How do you
Hmm.
feel about
Not very surprised because uh, it is true because you know see, we all, like in every community, sometimes it happens, you know, kids will go out and they will work and they'll go to study or they'll work and they'll face a lot of problems and they'll come back to their parents if they
it?
feel down and all. Uh, yeah, having said that, there are certain things which we have to really know and understand that our lives are actually not just this lifespan of 72 years. It is, we are just part of a larger lifespan, which is the whole uh, whole human civilization, starting from, if you believe in Darwin's theory of evolution, then you will understand how old times, like how much back I'm talking about. So yeah, so how we have evolved as a human civilization. So the you will have, if you are a filmmaker, you will be able to understand more clearly that we have a timeline to everything. There's a timeline. So in timeline, you go forward and forward and forward. If there is um, you know, a situation, a time where it comes that where you hit your end, almost your collapse, then you have to fall back to your own, that time where things were better. And even in mental health, we talk like that. The therapists would ask you to go to forests when you are fighting anxiety, depression, even autoimmune disease, stress, lot of stress related diseases. So you have to go back to forest. Now you have to understand that human beings are essentially born out of forest. We are born out of forest. So your home is actually forest, and you have to go and reconnect all the time whenever you are, low. So when tribes have been, conserving that time, अब वो भी अभी खतरे में है. So that is also in a dangerous situation because we are so much, everybody is so much hell bent on, bringing tribals to the mainstream instead of trying to learn what they are holding, uh, what made them live so long without a cash economy without a cash economy in place. uh, we are not dependent on cash. If you look deeper in your lives, everything is so much dependent on cash. Everything is dependent on your anxiety. Everything is dependent on cash, and your growth. And if there is no money, you cannot live. But if you go to tribal areas which have survived on, there's this thing called madait. Madait is like it's like madad karna, helping people. So you
Right.
help me build my house, I will help you build your house. I
Right.
You help me grow, crops. I will go and help you grow crops. I'll work in your fields, like that. So we have that is the currency of tribals, and there is no competition. There is no competition. Competition is a very unhealthy way of living, actually, uh, which is not there in tribals that much. But now, because this cash economy is like, bombarding itself, so it is making those changes. So before that happens, it is an urgent situation for the human race to fall back to the times. Your psychiatrist will also say, therapist will also say, when you're hitting in the roof, they will say that go back to your own value system. Go back to that, reconnect. There is a disconnect which has happened from you. Reconnect to your own self, older self, where things were right. You try to remember that. So we are the memory. We are the we have so many, like, for example, one more example I will give, that one thing is there, that that whole way of living is about well-being in tribes. It is about well-being in tribes. First of all, I mentioned there is no competition. Second thing is that even our celebrations, like the festivals, and there's a lot of emphasis on human connection. Such as you will see people are holding hands and dancing. So imagine you must have danced alone in the room. How does it feel? You must have danced two people in the room. How does it feel? You have not touched anybody. How you have danced in a discotheque, probably, or in a party where 50 people are dancing, but you're not touching anybody, but you're dancing. But now imagine the whole community, kind of, 50 people holding hands and dancing, and how you feel. You feel secured. That feeling of security will always, calm down your senses. You will not have trust issues. You will not have anxiety, and you will not fight so much. And then you will see, you can relate this to war also. How wars happen. Anxious mind, insecure mind, what happens.
Right.
So you have to come back to our ways. But yeah, again, what I'm saying is, there has been times, lot of times, most of the times actually, that cheating behavior will not work now. Because tribals know their rights, they know their place, they know they are protective about what they're conserving, and you can't, or you can't just come with a gun and get things wrong. So it's not going to happen. So come like a, with a lot of respect. Start with respecting us in cinema or literature, and then we can move forward together. Yeah.
Thank you, Niranjan. Much respect to you. You're an old soul. It's always lovely to talk to you. Thank you very much. And on behalf of IDR, I want to say this was an absolutely wonderful conversation.
Thank you. It was great. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.